Are you tired of feeling like you're fueling your dreams with whatever's left over in your fridge? You pour your heart and sweat into every single training session, pushing past the limits you thought were unbreakable. But what about fuel? That incredible, resilient body of yours deserves more than just grabbing whatever's quick or easy. You deserve energy, strength, and the confidence to know that you are taking care of yourself, mind, and body. Today, we're diving into the world of meal planning, and this isn't just any meal planning. This is meal planning for you, the female athlete. I'll unravel the basics and show you how to get started even when time feels like a luxury you can't afford. Let's ditch the overwhelm and step into a world of nourished sports performance. So tighten your ponytail and let's dive in. All right, meal planning. We are going to talk about meal planning today, and I have a little story for you. This is like a nostalgic story about myself. When I was growing up, I used to help my mom every week plan out meals for the week and go to the grocery store with her. And this was like a little bonding time. I don't think it was like meant to be that way, but it actually turned into that. And so she used to call me her little grocery shopping buddy. I really liked going to the grocery store, and quite frankly, I still like grocery shopping. Not so much with kids around, but I do like grocery shopping. I actually really like planning out my meals for the week and just creating simple meals that everybody will enjoy and that is going to fuel my body for my performance and also for my health. So I'm going to tell you what I do and what really works for me, and the hundreds of other female athletes that I worked with over the years, what works for them as well. So the first thing that you need to do is actually just take a look at what you already have at your house. So you're going to look in your freezer, look in your refrigerator, look in your pantry, and basically you're going to create a little list of foods that you have. So you're going to create some categories. Number 1 is going to be carbohydrates. Number 2 is going to be proteins. You need some fat in there. So think of, like your oils and avocado, nuts, seeds, cheese, things along those lines. And then you need a fruit or vegetable at each meal. So you're going to need all of those components: a carbohydrate, a protein, some fat, and then a fruit or a vegetable. So like I said, you're going to just take a look around in your house, in your refrigerator, your freezer, and your pantry and see what you already have. And you're going to make a little list, make a category for carbohydrates, category for protein, category for fats, and then fruits and vegetables. So let's just kind of recap here what each of those are. Carbohydrates are grains. So this is things like pasta, rice, potatoes, oatmeal, any type of cereal, granola bars, crackers, quinoa, barley, anything like that. Those are all going to be carbohydrates. So you're going to put those all in the carbohydrate category. Next up is protein. So proteins are going to be things like meats, beans, cheese, tofu, any type of fish, any type of eggs, milk, yogurt. Those are all going to be proteins. Your fats, some of your foods are already going to contain fat, so you don't really need to make a separate category for it, but I would go ahead and do it anyways. So fats are going to be oils, so think like olive oil, coconut oil, even tallow or lard can fit in there. Cheese, eggs, those are all going to contain some fat in there. So you can go ahead and put that in the fat category. Any type of nuts or seeds, nut butters, those are all going to go in the fat category. Last up is fruits and vegetables. I think those are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into what those are, but you do want to write those down in your list. So this can be done on like a piece of paper, or you could do it in your phone, whatever you want to do. Honestly, it'll take you probably about 5 minutes. It probably sounds worse than it does, but all you're doing is just kind of perusing what you already have. So then you don't have to run out to the grocery store and feel like you need to buy $1 million worth of groceries that you don't have, but you do actually already have. So next up, you are going to pick one food from each category to create a meal. Like I said, you need a protein, a carbohydrate, a fat, a fruit, or a vegetable at each meal. So all you're going to do is look at your list that you have just created and pick a component from each category to create a meal. It does not need to be anything fancy. All you need is the components. So here's an example. I have some frozen chicken, so I'm going to make some shredded chicken. If you have not listened to my last podcast episode on shredded chicken, I highly recommend that you do that. So just go back one episode and listen to that. I'm going to make some shredded chicken, and then I'm going to bake some potatoes. So there's my protein, there's my carbohydrate. I'm going to put some butter on my potatoes. There's my fat. And then I have some frozen broccoli. There is my vegetable. That's it. Now I've just created a meal. Super, super simple. So next up, what you're going to do is you're going to, after you've created a bunch of meals, create as many ideas as you can out of this list that you have made. Next up, what you're going to do is you're going to look at your calendar for the week and decide which meals you're going to have when. So what I do is I look at my calendar for the week and I figure out, okay, Wednesday night, I cannot have dinner at home because maybe I have a training that night and it's just going to run late. So I'm going to have to bring something with me. Or, Thursday, my son has soccer. And so that's going to run really late. So I'm going to have to just bring, a sandwich or something like that to the field. Whatever. You can kind of figure this out. Friday night, you're going to go out to dinner with your friends. You can, again, look at your week and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So what I do is I just kind of X off the nights that I am not going to be eating at home. Hopefully you'll be eating home cooked meals the majority of the time. But what you're going to do is you're just going to plug in to the days that you're going to have your dinners at home, or you're going to bring lunch from home to work. You're going to plug in what you're going to bring. So I batch cook. This is step number 4, is I batch cook these meals. So for example, my shredded chicken, my baked potato, butter, and frozen broccoli, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake a whole bunch of potatoes while my chicken is cooking. And then I have my frozen broccoli that I'm just going to kind of throw in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get dinner for tonight, or whatever night you're planning. And now I'm going to have lunch for tomorrow as well. And then I'm going to probably have another dinner some other time in there. And then I'm going to freeze the rest for some other time because I am sick of eating the same food 3 times by now. You get the idea. So you should get a couple meals out of this because you are cooking a lot of it. You're batch cooking. You are cooking more than just one single serving, which you never want to cook one single serving. Just trust me on that. So you're going to then plug into your calendar which meals you're going to have when, so that it makes your life a lot easier. Next, you're going to keep track of which recipes or which, meal combinations that you really like. So what I suggest getting is either a recipe box. I bought one from Target for $20 and it was actually really nice. It was wooden with this nice, copper lid. And then it had recipe cards already in there. So what I do is I just kind of jot down really quickly, oh, I really liked this combination, or I like this recipe, or whatever. And then when I'm having a blank moment where I can't figure out a meal, I can just look through there and say, oh yeah, I have the components to make that. You can also do this on the notes app on your phone, do it on a piece of paper. I don't really care. Whatever works for you. You just want to keep track of this so that you can easily pull this out some other time and make some meals for yourself that you can put on your calendar. Now, if you find that you do need another component for that meal, you need an ingredient, maybe you're not going to go to the store right away, you're trying to create a grocery list for yourself, I highly, highly recommend using either Alexa, Google Voice, or Siri, if you have one of those things, which I'm sure you do, to create your grocery list. So what I do is I hold down my watch and I say, hey Siri, add chicken to my family grocery list. It's going to play back for you. Maybe it's not. Sorry, but it's on there. Now chicken's on my family grocery list and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to remember to write it down somewhere else. It's done and over with. If you don't want to use technology, that's fine. What I would suggest doing is, my next tip is getting a whiteboard, put it in your kitchen. This is like my number 1 tip. Get a whiteboard, put it somewhere in your kitchen. Maybe it's on your refrigerator, pantry door, whatever, so that you can put what you're going to have each day for at least for your dinners. You have those planned out. So then okay, by Monday, I need to pull, the steak or whatever out of the freezer to thaw out for Wednesday. But then you also know what you're going to have each night. So you're not like, you're floundering then. And then if you want to write your grocery list on the side of that board and not use technology, that's totally fine. Great thing about technology is it's always going to be with you. So if you use Alexa, Google Voice, or Siri to make your grocery list, it's now on your phone in that grocery list. So when you go to the grocery store with your phone, you can easily pull up your groceries list right then and there and not have to worry about it. Super easy. It's going to save you so much time. So let's kind of recap here on the steps that you need to get started to meal prep. Number one is look at what you already have and make a list of each of the categories: carbohydrate, protein, fat, fruit, and vegetable. Number two, you're going to create some simple meals from each category. We are not eliminating any food groups here, if you've noticed, because we have proteins, carbohydrates, fats, fruits, and vegetables. As a female athlete, you do not want to eliminate any food groups. So please do not eliminate any food groups. You are now going to be shooting yourself in the foot, which is then going to make your performance tank and a whole slew of other things. Just don't do it. Pick something from every category. Next up, you're going to look at your calendar for the week, decide which meals you're going to have when. Make sure that you are factoring in some lunches so that you can save your sanity a little bit. Number four is you're going to batch cook your meals so that you have leftovers for later meals. You can freeze the rest if you're not going to use it all, and that saves you for some other weeks. Get a recipe box or your note section on your phone, whatever, to keep track of which recipes or which food combinations that you liked, and then use technology to create your grocery list for you. And then lastly, my number one tip is to get a whiteboard for your kitchen so that you know what you're going to make when and when you need to pull things out of the freezer, so that you don't get to that day and you're like, well, I completely forgot to pull something out of the freezer. I guess I'm just going to call Uber Eats now. This will save you so much time, so much energy, and also so much sanity. So if you tried this, please let me know how it goes. I love to hear from my listeners. If you have not written me a review on Apple Podcasts, please do so and let me know in the review how you liked this episode.